Page indictment accuses the mayor of conspiracy, wire fraud, and again lying to a grand jury.
Chief investigative reporter Stephen Stock has details of what the grand jury alleges that Cantrell and her bodyguard Jeffrey Vappy did.
The 18-count indictment alleges that LaToya Cantrell and Jeffrey Vappy developed a personal and intimate relationship, and together they exploited their public positions to develop and implement a scheme to defraud the city of New Orleans and the NOPD, while Vappy was on duty getting paid by taxpayers to protect the mayor. The indictment alleges they took 14 different trips to places such as San Francisco, New York, Martha's Vineyard, and Los Angeles. Together, prosecutors say Vappy's trips with Cantrell cost the city over $70,000, separate from Cantrell's own travel cost. According to the indictment, in or around October 2021, Vappy went to Scotland with Cantrell and later sent a WhatsApp message, which is a free encrypted phone messaging app. The indictment states Vappy's message to Cantrell said the Scotland trip was, quote, where it all started. The indictment alleges Vappy and Cantrell exchanged over 15,000 personal messages, pictures, and voice messages on WhatsApp to avoid detection and continue their relationship. The indictment included some of those messages. Cantrell, so I will have to go to D.C. on Monday. Vappy, I know. Cantrell, will you be going? Vappy, absolutely, if it's possible. Later, Cantrell messages, I will make that happen if you say it's okay. Vappy, it's definitely okay. Cantrell, okay, smiley face emoji. Another message Cantrell sent Vappy, the times when we are truly alone traveling is what spoils me the most. Included in the indictment references to Fox 8's investigation into the time Cantrell and Vappy spent alone in the then city-owned Pontalba apartment. The grand jury charges on August 5th, 2022, Cantrell and Vappy manipulated their schedules to allow them additional time to spend together in the Pontalba apartment while Vappy claimed to be on duty. And the indictment appears to specifically mention Fox 8's investigation when it says on or about September 23rd, 2022, Cantrell and Vappy discussed a public records request seeking information about Cantrell's schedule and whether a particular local investigative reporter was, quote, on to us. Lee Zurich and Fox 8 submitted public records requests to Cantrell's office asking for details about her schedule and Vappy's timesheets, both on September 23rd and in the days before that. This indictment also says that Mayor Cantrell supplied false documents and actually lied in testimony before the grand jury. I'm Stephen Stock, Fox 8, Local First.